I work alone at a haunting warehouse. The shocking truth I found at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, echoing hollowly across the empty expanse of the warehouse. Shadows danced on the cold, concrete floor, twisting and turning like phantoms weaving through the night. A biting chill filled the air, nipping at my skin, and the unsettling silence cloaked everything, making every creak of the building feel alive. The faint rustle of old cardboard boxes sounded like whispers of long-dead secrets, each corner of the place clinging to a haunting past. What had happened here? The warehouse loomed over me, a behemoth of rust and decay, filled with the remnants of forgotten dreams. Broken pallets lay scattered about, a maze of abandonment. The buzzing fluorescent lights flickered above, casting an eerie glow that gave life to the dust motes swirling through the air. It felt like a scene straight out of a horror movie. And there I was, the lone figure against the sprawling darkness, heart racing like a freight train. I felt a prickle on the back of my neck. It was that instinct something wasn't right. I glanced around, squinting into the shadows, searching for movement. And then, I spotted a pair of glowing eyes peered from behind a pile of crates. My breath hitched, a lump in my throat. What kind of creature was lurking in the shadows? The fear was palpable, a tightness in my chest that felt like a vice grip, but I couldn't turn back. Suddenly, an unexplainable sound broke the stillness, a loud bang. My heart thudded violently. Was it just the wind? Or something worse lurking just out of sight, ready to pounce? I felt every hair on my arm stand up, and the silence that followed was suffocating. My thoughts raced like a wild horse escaping a corral. Was it a ghost? A thief? Or something far more sinister? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Back to that warehouse. The echo of that bang seemed to reverberate in my mind as I peered deeper into the shadows. I had to know what it was. Each step I took felt like walking through thick molasses. The fear was mixed with a wild curiosity that drew me in closer, against my better judgment. The air grew heavier. I could hear my own shaky breaths, and then silence. And just like that, it returned a low growl, almost primal, rumbling from the depths of the darkness. My heart dropped. Was this it? My moment to confront whatever horrors lay before me? Or was I about to fall into a trap woven by the very shadows I had feared? I held my breath, ready to either make a stand or flee. What was hiding in the depths of that haunting warehouse? As I braced myself, the unknown loomed larger than ever. The sound of my pulse thundered in my ears as I moved closer to the crates. The low growl pulsated through the air like a heartbeat of something ancient, something alive. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, to run away from the oppressive darkness that surrounded me. But curiosity outweighed fear. Then, a sudden movement, a flash of fur, a glimmer of teeth, something darted from the shadows. It was too quick to identify, but it left a trail of dread in its wake. I stumbled back, letting out a shaky breath. Was it a wild animal? Or something worse? The air felt electric, charged with an energy I couldn't comprehend. Hello? My voice came out as a whisper, barely a sound in the vast emptiness. But the growling intensified, bouncing off the concrete walls, becoming a chorus of angry echoes. I couldn't stay hidden forever. Every instinct screamed for me to bolt, but my legs felt glued to the floor, anchored by a force I couldn't name that I swallowed hard, gripping the edge of a nearby crate for support. Maybe it was just a stray dog seeking refuge. Or perhaps a raccoon foraging in the wreckage of this forgotten place. Caution mixed with intrigue propelled me forward, inching closer toward the source of the sound. Suddenly, a sharp metallic clang pierced the air, erupting from the corner of the warehouse. Panic surged through me. The noise was too loud, too deliberate. I turned, scanning the area for the source, but all I found were shadows. Then it hit me hard. A cold draft swept through, carrying a stench of decay and neglect, reality slapping me in the face. This warehouse, once a bustling hive of activity, held more than just memories. It held secrets, dark secrets that had set roots while I remained oblivious. Was it ghosts of the past haunting me, or something far more corporeal? I dared to step closer, setting my jaw, preparing to unearth whatever supernatural force lurked in silence. Again, the growl reverberated, more pronounced this time, as if challenging me to step forward. I felt my heart skip uncomfortably, like a broken record jammed on a note of dread. The growling grew louder, stronger, swelling in my chest until the walls vibrated with it. Reclining crates and scattered metal could suddenly become anything under the ominous weight of my fear that I moved cautiously, as if any sudden movement would provoke whatever was hiding. Another sound erupted, a shattering crash like glass meeting concrete, and my breath hitched in my throat. The stillness was shattered. The fear of what was to come loomed over me like a dark cloud, disorienting and suffocating. Then I saw it, a shape darting between boxes, sleek and quick. My heart raced. One moment, it transformed from shadow to form. Could it be an animal? Or was it something more sinister? I needed to know. I took a step forward, breath held tight, eyes locked on the shivering mass. Just then, the lights flickered ominously above, casting grotesque, elongated shadows that twisted into monstrous shapes. And in that fleeting moment of disorientation, it lunged, exploding from the darkness with a terrifying roar. I was paralyzed, caught between fight and flight, heart hammering wildly against my ribcage. Everything froze. Who or what stood before me? What did it want? The dim light flickered again, and for just a heartbeat, I caught a glimmer of its eyes that radiated an intelligence too familiar. Too raw. Was it fear or fury reflected back at me? I needed answers, and the truth lay just beyond the shadows. If I dared to take that next step, would I uncover the horror lurking in the dark, or would I only seal my doom? What was truly waiting for me in the depths of that cage of secrets? The creature paused, its glowing eyes boring into mine, as if reading my very thoughts. For a second, I stood frozen, overwhelmed by a cocktail of fear and longing. My mind raced with questions, each one drowning out the growl that echoed around us. What was this thing? Why did it seem so familiar? As if sensing my internal struggle, it took a step forward, muscles taut under a sleek coat of fur, and with each slow movement, the room seemed to tilt. Paranoia crept in. Was I really staring into the eyes of some rogue animal, or was it far more profound? My breath caught in my throat. The air felt thick with meaning. Stay back. My voice shook, but I couldn't hide the tremor from those words. Half expecting a charge, I braced myself against the crate, hoping it would provide some support or barrier. The growling transformed into a low whine, a sound so pitiful it rattled the very core of my being. I blinked hard, fighting the urge to approach, yet an inexplicable bond pulled at me to eye in another life. Perhaps this creature was a pet loyal and fierce. Yet here and now, it was more than just a mere animal. It stood as a profound testament to survival in a place that had long forgotten joy. And then, as the lights flickered again, my clarity returned. I had come here seeking the truth about this warehouse, about the stories buried within its walls. This was not just a coincidence. I felt it pulse in the air, the very fabric of connection. This beast, this guardian of shadows, was part of it. Please, just tell me what you want. I was still pleading, the terror in my chest slowly twisting into something deeper, a call to understand and empathize, to bridge a divide that felt insurmountable. In response, the creature growled once more, but this time, it transformed, almost as if it were trying to communicate. It turned slowly, gesturing with its powerful, sinewy body, beckoning me deeper into the darkness of the warehouse. It was a movement that reminded me of a wolf leading its pack. My heart raced. Was it leading me to something hidden, something that would explain the fear? Or was it luring me into a trap, leading me to my doom? In that moment, I realized I had a choice to make. But the choice felt heavier than bricks. The whimpering escalated, sinking into a despairing plea, piercing my reluctance. I had come here for answers, but I could easily find myself lost if I followed. Sweat trickled down my spine as I wrestled with my instincts while being drawn closer, inch by fragile inch. With a rush of determination, I stepped forward, overriding the primal urge to flee. I wouldn't let fear guide me anymore. As I crossed the threshold into the more profound depths of the warehouse, I felt the weight of unseen eyes watching, waiting, perhaps even judging. The creature led me to a corner piled high with dust-covered boxes. It paused, looking back over its shoulder, urging me on, inviting me to uncover whatever lay beneath the shadowy veil. Dread pooled in my stomach. What cursed secrets had they concealed, and how could they be tied to the creature before me? The clang of steel rang out from those boxes, a noise so loud, I jumped back. And then the faintest sound of something shifting, a whisper that seemed to carry a name. Help me, a chill enveloped me. Who was that? The electric pull between the beast and me surged anew. If I hesitated now, would I lose whatever chance I had to understand this haunting? With hesitant breath, I stepped closer again. My heart pounded. The darkness surrounding me felt alive. A whisper echoed in the air, a desperate plea waiting to entwine with my fate. What truth had I stumbled upon? And how deep did the roots of this darkness run? Would digging deeper unearth salvation or destruction? The weight of the shadows pressed down around me, and I realized I was standing on the very brink of something monstrous, and I might not be prepared for what lay beneath. Would I unravel the threads of this mystery, or would I become yet another story locked away in the dark? The creature leaned forward, its breath warm against the chill of the warehouse, and I could see the reflections of haunting memories swirling in its eyes. It seemed to sense the hesitation in me, as if every moment of doubt made it more restless. Help me, the whisper came again, clearer this time, somehow echoing not from the boxes but from the dark recesses of my own mind. The need in that voice felt urgent, as if I were standing at the very edge of reality, trying to grasp something just out of sight. That I glanced at the creature. It had shifted, its stance now poised in a mix of ferocity and care, waiting for me to make that next move. I could feel the weight of its stare, the challenge it proposed. It was a moment suspended in time, where bravery and fear danced dangerously close together. Who are you? I breathed, my voice quaking despite my determination. What do you want from me? For a heartbeat, it seemed to ponder my question. Then, with a sound that could only be described as a growl mixed with agony, it gave a sharp nod towards the boxes stacked around us. A rustle came from the clutter, and the stark sound cut through the air like a knife. Something was moving beneath the debris that I reached for a nearby box, dragging it under the creature's watchful gaze. The dust swirled, tickling my nose and throat, and I coughed, my heart racing. My curiosity outweighed my caution as I pulled off the lid, revealing a chaotic mosaic of forgotten items, tattered papers, bent photos, and broken trinkets. And then, there it was, a photograph, warped and faded. As I held it closer, my breath caught in my throat. In the picture stood a group of people, their smiles bright, but the backdrop was unmistakable. It was the very warehouse I had wandered into. Help me, the whisper returned, louder, a wave of desperation. The photo slipped from my fingers, fluttering softly to the ground as I stumbled back. What happened to you? I gasped, my eyes darting back toward the creature. The correlation struck me like thunder. Was this its home, once filled with laughter before it faded into despair? The beast responded with a keening wail, the type that reverberated deep in my bones. I could see pain etched in its features, a longing that transcended words. Whatever lay hidden in this place was deeply tied to its existence, both dark and tragic. If sensing the urgency in my breath, it lunged forward and suddenly pawed at another box, sending it tumbling to the floor. My heart raced as I dropped to my knees to follow its lead. The creature's anxiety drove me on, compulsion gnawing at my gut. There, among the remnants of neglect, I found what had been buried for too long, a journal, its pages yellowed and fragile. As I began to turn the pages, I could feel every ounce of my resolve pushing me onward. I had to uncover the story, the voice of the past that begged me to listen. The words leaped off the page, subtle clues of a hidden life intertwined with the fate of the creature beside me. Descriptions of a bond that was both terrible and beautiful formed a tapestry before my eyes. Feelings of loss, survival, entangled histories unfurled like threads I was now responsible for pulling. But as I delved deeper, a realization struck me. This was not just a mystery, it was a curse. Each word wove a picture of despair that charged the warehouse with emotions long buried. Glances exchanged with the creature seemed to solidify the connection. Whatever this miracle of nature was, it was also trapped a soul seeking release. The air crackled with anticipation, a relentless sense of dread creeping in as I realized. The more I unraveled, the more dangerous this would be. This hidden past didn't just stay neatly in history, it resonated now, calling to darker forces lurking beyond the walls, waiting to reclaim what was theirs. Suddenly, the silence shattered, a loud crash erupted from the far corner. My heart sank, racing on instinct, and I shot a glance at the creature beside me. Its eyes widened, laced with an urgent plea. "Run!" I screamed, but the words barely got out before shadows began to unfurl around us, whispering horrors I could hardly comprehend. What had I awakened in this warehouse? What was determined to keep its secrets buried? The walls felt like they were closing in as adrenaline surged, a frantic rush of thoughts colliding that I knew then that I was teetering on the brink of something beyond this world, something monstrous. But with another urgent growl, the creature surged ahead, a beacon in the dark. Would I follow this guide into the unknown, or was it already too late? There was no turning back now, fear or fate. I had to step forward. Would the truth set me free or plunge me deeper into darkness? The answer awaited, lurking just beyond the veil of light. The creature bolted into the thick shadows, its form a blur among the disarray of boxes and debris. My instincts screamed at me to stay put, but the pleading glow in its eyes pulled me forward. I chased after it, heart hammering in my chest as echoes of that crash reverberated in my ears. It was a sharp reminder that whatever lurked in this warehouse was not just a figment of my imagination. It was real, and it was coming for us. I stumbled over empty containers and twisted metal, barely keeping my balance. The creature darted between the towering stacks, and I glimpsed its silhouette fading deeper into darkness. I focused on its path, desperate not to lose sight of my guide through this labyrinthine nightmare. Just as I rounded a corner, a heavy thud ricocheted off the walls, followed by an ominous silence that draped itself over the warehouse like a heavy fog. "Where are you?" I whispered, dread creeping up my spine. In the suffocating stillness, I strained to listen for the creature, but there was only the distant whisper of an unseen wind, curling around me and hissing words I couldn't comprehend. With a sudden jolt of fear burning in my veins, I pressed forward. The air felt electric, crackling with tension. Every heartbeat echoed in my ears as I grasped onto a nearby structure for support, steadying myself. Glancing around, I felt the shadows thicken, growing restless, like they're alive and aware of what I'd just uncovered. My fingers brushed against the journal in my pocket, its pages still flickering with the remnants of spectral voices and tormented tales. The urgency gnawed at me. What more had I yet to unearth? I couldn't shake the sense that the truth I was pursuing might lead me to a precipice of understanding and danger. Then, a cold chill swept through the room, drawing my attention. The shadows shifted, taking on shapes, twisted forms that seemed to lurch toward me. An overwhelming sense of foreboding washed over me. They were as if they were both prisoners, and the prison-lost souls folding into one another like smoke, intent on binding me to their fate. "Stay away," I shouted, feeling the rush of panic surge through me. The creature reappeared suddenly beside me, its growl vibrating in the air. It stood firm, its silhouette framed by the glimmer of strained light filtering from a broken window. There was something fierce and protective in its stance, as if it was daring the shadows to come closer. That I took a step back. Then another, the creature at my side, both of us bracing for what was to come. The shadows recoiled momentarily before surging forward, twisting like spirits unleashed from their bonds. They howled, a sound that pierced the air, resonating with my own fear. "What do you want?" I screamed, my voice barely piercing the overwhelming cacophony. The shadows lingered at the edge of perception, swirling around us, taunting, beckoning. In that fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of something, a memory buried in their forms. Faces distorted with anguish, yet within their depths, I saw a glimmer of desperate hope, familiar yet haunting. It was the same hope that echoed in the creature's eyes. Whatever was pursuing me was tied to their pain, and perhaps my own fate was interwoven with theirs. The wings of realization unfurled within me. This wasn't just about the creature or the haunting history of the warehouse. It was about breaking the cycle. If I could uncover the truth and confront whatever lingered here, maybe I could help them. Help us both. As shadows spiraled and chanted their despair, the creature moved closer, nudging me sideways. It was urging me to act. I didn't know how much time we had left before the shadows fully realized their power. With a deep breath, I clenched the journal in my hand and prepared to shout whatever truth emerged next. The air shimmered with anticipation, and I felt it, something dark stirring just beyond the walls, something waiting for me to make my move. Would understanding deliver us, or would it become my undoing? With shadows lurking in the corners and echoes of the past rising around us, I stepped forward into the storm, ready to confront what lay ahead. The moment I stepped into the swirling shadows, the air thickened around me. Each breath felt labored, as if I were drawing in the despair that hung over this place. The creature beside me remained tense, its eyes locked on the inky blackness that was alive with swirling forms, each a tapestry of anguish and unfulfilled longing. Whatever this is, we can't back down now, I murmured, steeling myself. Then, I felt it, an icy breeze that twisted around my ankles, creeping higher like fingers intent on ensnaring me. Panic clawed at my throat as I faced the shadows directly. They flickered, revealing grotesque features hidden beneath the gloom. Whispers drew close, calling to me in a chorus barely discernible, yet achingly familiar. It was the sound of lost souls reaching out. Please, I managed to choke out, my voice trembling. What do you want from us? The shadows paused, wavered as if caught off guard, and then surged forward with renewed fervor. A cacophony of voices filled the warehouse, rising and falling in a dreadful symphony. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakably filled with sorrow and rage. It felt like they were pleading, desperate to be heard, a plea laced with bitterness. The creature at my side growled again, a low, rumbling sound that reverberated through the chaos. It stepped protectively in front of me, fur bristled, ready for whatever was about to unfold. This connection between us, this fierce, shared resolve, set a fire in my chest. Stay close to me, I whispered, though I could barely hear my own voice over the clamor. I was grasping onto the last threads of courage as I held up the journal, its pages fluttering with unseen energy. This was my lifeline. Perhaps within its haunted words lay the keys to breaking whatever cycle tied these shadows to this place. The shadows lunged, and I instinctively opened the journal, flipping through the pages. Desperation spurred me on, scanning for some mention of hope or release. I found splintered stories of loss, longing, and a curse binding souls to despair in this very warehouse. Each line burned itself into my mind, like deep grooves carved into wood. Once bound by betrayal, each soul must find its truth to ascend, I read aloud, my voice rising above the screams. The words conjured images of betrayal, of lives torn apart by secret pacts made long ago. I could feel the shadows swirling hotter around me, agitated by the revelation. Is that it? Is that what you want? I called out into the restless void, clutching the journal like a shield. You're not just here for vengeance. You need to be free. The shadows hesitated, coiling back slightly, and I saw another glimpse in their chaos of face, distorted yet achingly familiar. My heart lurched. I knew that face. It was someone I had lost, a lost memory I had buried deep to cope with the pain. No, I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. It can't be. Suddenly, a piercing howl erupted from the depths of the warehouse, the howling crescendoing to a fever pitch. The walls themselves trembled, as if the building recognized its dark legacy. Stand beside me, I commanded the creature, who let out a fierce bark in response as I faced the rising storm. It was gathering strength, ready to unleash its fury on me, and I knew I had to confront the truth boldly. Let me help you, I yelled, my voice ringing with determination, as the air crackled with violent energy. The creature's growl echoed in agreement, a reminder that I was not alone. Someone still believed in the possibility of escape. But then, a voice, clear amid the chaos, broke through. Unravel the lies, or be consumed by them. With that, a blinding flash ignited the darkness, flooding everything in stark white light. My heart raced, and I shielded my eyes, wrestling with the truth that lingered just beyond my reach. And then everything went silent. As my vision adjusted, I realized the shadows had shifted, retreating momentarily. But now, they weren't just mere tricks of the light. They formed a distinct barrier around me and the creature, locked in a pulse of energy that thrummed with impending doom. What truth awaited me in this newfound clarity? What risk would I take to uncover the connection between the lost souls and my own past? I felt the ground beneath me tremble, urging me to choice to either run or stand and face the harrowing reality. Time hung heavy, pressing against my chest. And in that moment of clarity, I understood that the battle was just beginning. The silence felt dense, wrapping around me in a suffocating embrace. My pulse quickened as the barrier of shadows pulsed, pushing and pulling like a tide, urging me to take a step. I looked down at the journal, pages fluttering frantically, almost as if they were trying to whisper something more. "Simon," I insisted, more to myself than to the creature beside me. "We've got to figure this out." Before I could gather my thoughts, the shadows convulsed violently, revealing flashes of anguished faces. They twisted with each flicker, each face a mirror of pain reflecting back my own fears. I stepped closer, inching forward through the barrier as the whispers intensified around me. "Help us," they begged, voices layered like a haunting chorus. The raw desperation held a cruel irony. I was being pulled in, yet I wasn't sure if I was prepared to give them what they wanted. Breathing heavily, I clutched the journal tighter, feeling its pulse in my hands. "What do you need? What can I do?" My voice shook, uncertainty sinking in once more, yet flickering embers of hope ignited within me that a sudden gust of cold air swept through, swirling between us. The creature growled softly, its instincts on high alert. I felt its warmth brushing against me, a reminder of our bond, even in this chaos. Then, something shifted. I sensed the shadows drawing together, forming a figure at their center. As it emerged, I squinted through the haze, my heart tight in my chest. The face materialized, one familiar yet unrecognizable, an echo of lost time. It smiled, but the smile was painted over sorrow, deep, aching sorrow. "You remember me, don't you?" "No, it can't be," I whispered, reality swirling around me. "Every choice has consequences," the figure pressed, its voice laced with both warmth and grief. "You turned away, but it's time to face what you've buried." The ground trembled again beneath us, sending shockwaves of terror racing through my veins. Behind the figure, the shadows writhed violently, almost as if they were warning me. "You must understand. Their pain is intertwined with yours." I shook my head, fighting back tears. "Please, tell me what I need to do. Unravel the truth, it's the only way." With that, the figure began to fade, but its eyes never left mine, urging me to follow. "Wait, don't go," I shouted, desperation clawing at my voice. But the shadows surged forward, taking the figure fully into their depths. The whispers erupted into a frenzy again, a violent storm now, demanding to be heard. I felt my breath hitch as I processed the impact of my memories, tangled and raw, spilling forth the faces I had tried to forget, the hurt, the betrayal, the fear to my vision blurred. The journal trembled in my grip, the pages now vibrating with energy begging to be unlocked, to reveal their secrets. I opened it once more, determined to find the truth and break this cycle. "There must be a clue," I cried, flipping through the pages with frantic urgency. With each word read aloud, the shadows shifted restlessly, drawing closer, demanding. "Unravel," echoed a voice deep within my mind, a mantra repeating until the cadence grew overwhelming. Suddenly, a passage leapt out at me. "In darkness, there lies the key, the truth is hidden where the heart weeps." The moment I read it, shadows converged, merging into a swirling mass of energy demanding my focus. A sharp pang of realization struck me. I had to confront my own darkness. The secrets I had buried were the key to setting these souls free. But could I? Could I confront the truth that lay so deep in my heart? I felt my courage waver. Then everything erupted. The lights flickered wildly as shadows surged toward me, a wave of chaos threatening to consume everything in its path. The creature barked, standing firm, anchoring me in place amidst the whirlwind. "Stand strong," I shouted, defiance building within me. I wanted to run away this time. This was my moment. The shadows were fierce, but I had to resolve the truth buried deep within myself. As darkness closed in, I could feel a choice crystallizing. Face the pain, or succumb to it. What awaited me on the other side of that choice? What truth would I unearth if I dared to go beyond my fear? As the shadows tightened their grip, I realized I was standing at the precipice of a reckoning, one that would demand everything from me. And in that heartbeat of tension, with the energy crackling around me, the storm whispered, "Will you choose to remember?" The shadows twisted around me, hungry and relentless, as I steeled myself against the chaos. My heart thundered in my chest, a primal drum signaling both fear and resolve. I inhaled deeply, the scent of damp earth and cold steel filling my lungs, a harsh reminder of where I was and what I had to do. Face the pain, I murmured to myself, repeating the figure's haunting instruction in a desperate mantra. The journal felt heavier in my grasp, as if it were a chain binding me to this moment, this reckoning. The swirling darkness pulsated before me, weaving in and out of focus like a living entity. I had to plunge into it. With a deep breath, I called upon all the courage within me and took a step forward. The moment my foot touched the ground, the shadows surged, enveloping me in their cold embrace. An icy rush crashed over me, and I felt an unrelenting grip on my shoulders, pulling me deeper into the abyss. My vision dimmed, flickering like a faulty bulb. Faces emerged from the dark, each one etched with agony, mouths wide in silent screams. I could feel their sorrow infiltrating my thoughts, filling the spaces I had tried so hard to forget. "Help us," they cried again, a mournful chant that echoed in my ears, pulling me into a vortex of memories long buried. I stumbled, overwhelmed by the rush of painful recollections, the arguments, the lies, the betrayal that had carved hollows in my heart. "Why did I push you away?" A voice whispered, familiar and painful. I clenched my jaw, refusing to give in. "No, I can't," I shouted against the darkness, but the shadows closed in tighter, smothering my defiance. Suddenly, the journal pulsed in my grip, sending a shockwave of energy coursing through me. I felt a surge of clarity. "The heart weeps," I remembered. I had to confront the truth, face the memories I had buried in shame. Clenching my eyes shut, I focused on the images swirling in my mind, the one moment that changed everything. "Just show me," I cried, fighting through the turmoil. The shadows seemed to cease their onslaught for the briefest moment, as if conceding to my determination. Then it happened. A scene emerged from the darkness, vivid and sharp. I was there, locked in a moment of deep, horrific realization. The betrayal lay bare before me. "No, it wasn't my fault," I gasped, but the weight of responsibility bore down like a ton of bricks. It was my secret, my choice to bury it deep, that I felt my skin prickle as voices rose again, louder, demanding my attention. "Face it," they cried, urging me to accept what I had tried to deny. "Let us go." I was being swallowed. The depth of their grief threatened to engulf everything I was. But I had to hold on to something in the heart of the chaos. I clutched the journal one more time, searching for the truth buried within the pages. "What I need to know," I shouted, feeling dizzy as the energy surged around me. The journal glowed with an ethereal light, illuminating the closest faces for a fleeting moment. They were desperate, yearning for release, and with invasive urgency, I read another line. "To revive the lost, you must confront the past." Terror blazed through me. I had to confront not just my truth, but their pain too. My choices had tangibly bound them to this darkness. The realization hit like a freight train. "A sacrifice," I whispered, fear coiling tight in my throat. "But what?" Before I could piece it together, the shadows roared. An unseen force raged against my will. I braced myself, preparing for the onslaught. Was I prepared to confront everything I denied? The moment hung heavy with unanswered questions, and the storm was closing in again. I could feel the energy building, a storm of grief and anger thickening in the air. What would I need to sacrifice to unravel this web of pain? And would I emerge from the darkness transformed, or forever trapped within it? The shadows swirled, taunting, and whispered in my ear. "Are you ready to sacrifice your truth?" The shadows recoiled, momentarily still, as if they were waiting for my answer. My heart raced, pounding against the cage of my ribs. I could feel the cold sweat trickling down my spine, mingling with the terror gripping my chest. Just how much was I willing to lose to set these souls free? "Face it," Their whispers crescendoed again, sharper, more insistent. The faces around me twisted with despair, their expressions pulling at the threads of my heart. I didn't just owe it to them. I owed it to me, clearing a path through the darkness I'd created. Fine, I shouted back to the shadows, my voice cracking under the intensity of my declaration. Show me what I must give. The shadows convulsed and surged with life, billowing out like a thick fog. I felt an electric charge in the air, a hum that traveled deep into my bones. An image flashed before my eyes, a familiar face bathed in pain, eyes filled with longing. My breath hitched. It was her Olivia, the person I had betrayed most. My heart twisted painfully as memories invaded my mind. The laughter, the tears, the moments I took for granted, all tainted by my selfish choices. Let her go, I pleaded, but the faces became frantic, their screams penetrating the fog of my consciousness. Let us free. An overwhelming surge of guilt rarefied in the air, intensifying the agony. I reached for the journal, desperate to fight it back. My fingers trembled as they brushed against the ancient pages. Maybe the truth would be the key. With a newfound jitter of determination, I flicked to a section that pulsed with energy. Sacrifice, I muttered, voice trembling as the words echoed in the chaos. What must I give? A single line caught my eye, vibrating with a raw intensity. The bond that ties you to the lost is forged in your regret, forcefully sever it. Regret. The weight of it was suffocating. Everything I had never acknowledged, every second spent in cowardice, anchored me to the past. These shadows needed closure, a release that had eluded me for too long. And suddenly, like a dam bursting, realization struck. I had to confront my part, the truth of my betrayal, ask Olivia for her forgiveness in this swirling void of despair. Please, I cried out, the shadows swirling more aggressively, a storm. I need to hear her voice. I can't bear this darkness alone. Silence fell. Then a flicker illuminated the corner of my vision. A figure emerged in the depths, fragile yet radiant. Olivia was there, her expression caught between disappointment and hope. Why, Danny? She whispered, her voice laced with sorrow. Why did you choose to hurt me? Different emotions flooded my heart: shame, anger, helplessness. I needed to answer, to tell her how deeply I regretted pushing her away. But the shadows roared again, the pressure tightening around my throat, squeezing the words from my lips. Because I was afraid, I finally confessed, my voice barely a whisper. Afraid of what I felt, of how much you meant to me. The shadows paused, the air electric with unspoken feelings. Olivia stepped closer, her gaze piercing through the haze. Would her words sever the ties that bound her to this torment? Let me go, Danny, she said softly, but with unmistakable insistence. It was a knife through my chest, but clawing back my remorse felt like the only way forward. I steeled myself, knowing I had to redefine my relationship with my past. I'm ready. I'll do whatever it takes to free you. The darkness erupted into a cacophony of screams, igniting the space around me. Then tell the truth. They chorused, their urgency rising like a hurricane. Tell the truth? My breath quickened, each syllable crackling with impending release. What truth was I prepared to expose? Was I truly ready to strip away my ego, my defenses, risking the very sanity I clutched so desperately? The chaos swirled around me, rising to a fever pitch. I braced myself, knowing that the next words could alter everything. Tell me what I must sacrifice. As the shadows raged, readying for a revelation, I faced Olivia, my heart laid bare. Would she accept the truth of my failures, or would this confrontation bring nothing but more darkness? The storm raged on, an ocean of uncertainty crashing around me. What awaited in the wake of my confession? What dark corners of my soul would be laid bare? And when the dust settled, would I truly be able to embrace the light? In the eye of the storm, a piercing silence held the warehouse in its grip. I stood before Olivia, my heart pounding like a war drum as the shadows writhed and twisted around us. Each swirl carried whispers of souls still lost, eternally yearning for relief. I could feel their hostile gaze intensifying, as if demanding the truth I had buried for too long. Please, Olivia, I breathed, my voice trembling on the edge of a desperate plea. I never meant to hurt you. I was a coward. I didn't know how to love you properly. I pushed you away because I was afraid of losing you. The shadows, hearing my confession, seemed to still, their chaotic dance faltering as they anticipated my next move. Olivia's face, once a beacon of light, was now shadowed with grief. "Danny," she whispered, a fragile lament that sliced through the darkness like a thin stab of light. "Why couldn't you just be honest with me?" Pain laced her tone, her expression revealing the wound I'd caused. "I didn't want to lose you," I replied, my throat tight with the weight of my guilt. I felt each word shatter like glass between us. I was laying bare my soul, and with it, I hoped to free her. But I know now that my fear chained you here. It's my regret that locks you in place. The shadows stirred restlessly, flickering with renewed intensity as if they were urging me forward. I had to let her know I had to make this right. "I accept my part in this," I continued, emotions crashing over me like waves. "No more secrets. If you can forgive me, if there's any part of you still willing to heal, I will do whatever it takes to set you free." Her gaze softened for a brief second, and the connection pulsed in the air between us, tangible like a live wire. "It's not just my forgiveness you seek, Danny," she replied, voice steady but sorrowful. "You must forgive yourself. You need to let go of the guilt holding you captive." The storm swirled more frantically, reacting to our exchange. I felt the shadows surge, hungry for the energy of our unraveling truths. I didn't know if I had the strength, but I had to try. "I forgive you," I shouted, my voice cutting through the chaos. "I forgive me. I release all the anger, all the hurt that shattered us. It's time for both of us to move on." The shadows howled in protest, the pressure around me mounting as if preparing for an explosion. But I pressed on, my heart thundering louder than their cries. "Olivia, I wish I had been better," I yelled to the shadows, to the faces hidden within. "I wish I could go back and change everything. But I can't. All I can do is confront this reality and become a better man from it." The storm around us convulsed violently, and then erupted into a blinding flash of light. I shielded my eyes as illumination surged and enveloped both Olivia and me. I felt the warmth, a liberating energy suffusing the air, washing over me as if my very soul were being unshackled. "Let it go, Danny." Olivia's voice rang clear, echoing above the tumult. "Set us free." With a great heave, I took a step into the shimmering light, feeling the shadows recoiling. My heart soared and shattered in unison. This was my moment. I summoned every ounce of bravery I could muster, calling forth each memory of love and laughter shared, every lesson learned through pain. "I'm sorry," I cried. "You deserved better. I love you, and I will never forget you." The atmosphere vibrated with truth, the energy coiling, pulsing, rushing like water released from a dam. I felt it, an overwhelming surge of clarity, an understanding whispering between worlds. And there, at the center of it all, Olivia's spirit glimmered, radiant against the encroaching dark. I surrendered to the light. The shadows shivered violently, lost souls twisting in rebellion. Yet, fueled by the weight of my honesty, they began to lose their power. I felt Olivia's warmth roll through me heavy, comforting, and all at once, I saw them, every face twisted in pain, every regret, every bitter memory. It was time to heal. "I release you," I shouted, conviction coursing through every vein. "Your stories will no longer hold me down." And just like that, the shadows shattered, bursting into motes of light that danced and swirled as they vanquished. Softly, ever so gently, Olivia faded, her spirit releasing into the ether, no longer bound to the mourning chains of the past. As the brightness enveloped the warehouse, the cold grip of despair melted away. I stood alone, breathing heavy, but lighter. The air no longer felt thick and oppressive. It was clean, clear, open to possibilities. I turned slowly, glancing around the warehouse, taking in the remnants of what once was. Dust drifted lazily. Silence no longer felt terrifying. Unfinished stories remained, but now held promises of new beginnings. I would carry Olivia's memory with me, forging ahead with life. Tomorrow would hold its own battles and revelations, but I was ready. This chapter was closed, and I felt ready for whatever came next. The shadows would never hold me down again. I took one deep breath and stepped forward, embracing the dawn of a new day. It was time to live in the light. If you've enjoyed this thrilling conclusion, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next incredible story. We've got exclusive content coming your way that'll leave you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your thumbs up makes a world of difference. Flood the comments section. Let us hear your reactions and theories about the ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us build this community together.